Welcome back to the shop. Dave here. It is 21 below outside, but it's very comfortable, 68 degrees in the shop today. So I thought I'd come out, do a little bit of work, and I thought, well, what could I talk about on the channel today? And the subject of glue was one of those things that I find to be interesting. Uh, so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about glue, different kinds of glue for different kinds of applications. Uh, I attended a seminar at the Guild one day, and it was all about glue. Individual from Franklin Industries out of Columbus, Ohio. They make glue called, what the brand name is, Titebond. Now, I'm not sponsored by Titebond, but uh, I thought it would be interesting for some of you to see what kinds of glue that are available. I use 7 different kinds of glue, and glue has come a long way. But it's a lot about science. It's a lot about chemistry, and I always thought glue was glue. Glue is not just glue. It's just glue. Just buy some glue. We're putting a couple of things together. We need some glue. Glue is not just glue. It's come a long way since the days of Elmer's glue. I'm sure you all remember Elmer's glue, Elmer's paste. Now, some of you, I know some of you, have eaten Elmer's paste glue. I worked with some of you. I'm not going to mention any names. You already know who we are. Now, that might have been in kindergarten, first grade, second grade. Some of you went beyond that. High achievers, all of you, I'm sure. So, I am going to talk about glue. Uh, Before I forget, these things pop into my head. I did fix the comment section, so appreciate any comments that you got, ask any questions that you have, and if you've got suggestions for things you might want to see in the shop or activities regarding woodworking in general, boxes specifically, let me know in the comments. I'll take those under advisement. So let's get into glue. So as I said, I use 7 different kinds of glue for all the different applications relative to making boxes and other things around the shop. And I've got them set here in front, and we'll go through each one individually. Uh, for different applications, there's going to be a different kind of glue. Those applications range from do I have enough open time? Open time means that the time from you put the glue on, you spread it out. You don't want it to film over. You want it to bond to the fibers on the wood. So open time means it's going to have more time for you to put the glue on in a variety of different spots, perhaps. As in the box joints, this one has 8 different joints on each one of the corners. I put one box together that I entered into a competition at the Creative Arts competition at the VA. And that particular small box, very small box, had 64 joints in it. So you can imagine that I needed a lot of open time to get all those things aligned, the corners square and everything else, boards all flat, and so I needed a glue with a lot of longer open time. Whether or not this particular piece is going to be exposed to the elements. Is it an interior piece? Is it an exterior piece? Almost all of my stuff is going to be interior. Nobody's going to take boxes like these and set them outside. However, I do make bench shaft canoe paddles, and those paddles, of course, are going to be not only decorative, they're really designed to be decorative, but you could sure use them as a regular canoe paddle if that's your decision. So that glue that I use on there has to be at least water resistant, if not waterproof. So there's glues for that. And maybe depending on what two types of surfaces you're joining, you might use a different kind of glue. So, and how much time you want to wait between the time you glue those pieces together and you can actually use them. So you got to factor all those things into your decision when you're choosing the glue. So it's important to know that glue doesn't actually penetrate the pores of the wood. It doesn't penetrate the pores of the wood. It actually bonds to the small little fibers on the surface of the wood. And that's where you get the strength of that glue. So importance of that, significance of that is that as I'm sanding, I sand to a 150 grit, 180. I have gone to 220 on some of the surfaces. But beyond that, you're actually sanding all those small little fibers off, and therefore the glue doesn't have anything to bond to, and you'll get a weaker joint regardless of the kind of wood you're using and the strength of the wood. Excuse me, the strength of the glue as opposed to the strength of the wood. So that's why I always spritz all my projects with water. I'll sand them, I spritz them with water, let it dry. It raises the grain, gives me more surface for that glue to bond to. So, got to have the spritzer. Um, so let's go through each one of the individual glues that I use. As I said, I use 7, but not all of them all the time. Some of them I rarely use, but I have on hand just in case. So I'll start with the Titebond 2, which is kind of their premium glue. There is a regular Titebond. I don't use that particular glue just because Titebond 2 does whatever Titebond 1 does, and it gives me a little bit of exterior protection. So it is a waterproof glue. Excuse me, water-resistant glue, not waterproof glue, water-resistant glue. I buy this stuff by the gallon because I go through tons of it. Each one of the paddles that I make, I'll use a minimum of 8 ounces of this glue. Now this is a 16-ounce size, and it doesn't make sense if I'm doing paddles, and I'll do paddles in batches. I'll make 4, 5, 6 of them at a time. I got to have a lot of glue, and so I buy this stuff by the gallon. Now, one thing to note about your glues, if you buy this glue or any other glue, at least Titebond's glue, I imagine Elmer's and the rest of them are probably the same. If it sits long enough, the heavier stuff that's in suspension in the liquid will settle to the bottom, and you get a film of water on the top. So it doesn't mean the glue is bad, it just means that everything's settled out and you got to shake it to get everything back in suspension, and then you can still use it. So don't toss it out. The other thing that I don't want you to ever do, and I've seen this in a variety of different YouTube videos, where people will say, if you're not putting vinegar in your glue, you're not getting the most out of your glue. If the scientists aren't putting vinegar in the glue during the process of putting it together, putting it in these nice containers, they aren't putting vinegar in to begin with. Why would you suspect that adding vinegar to your glue is going to make it any better? Anyway, this has I'll call it a relatively short open time. So you got to be cognizant of that as you put your project together. Do I have enough open time in order to use this particular glue? You do use a lot on the paddles because as I'm spreading that glue out, putting those pieces of wood together, I have enough time to use Titebond too. So That's the first glue. Titebond 3, that is what they call their ultimate glue. It is waterproof, so you can use it on the interior and exterior. And you might say, well, why don't you use it on your canoe paddles? Because it has a longer open time. It doesn't come in gallons. That's the only reason that I don't use this on the canoe paddles. So this is what I use. This is kind of my primary glue when I'm working with boxes, because it does give me a little bit longer open time. I use it on my box joints, which are the ones that where you have all those small joints on the ends. I use that on those joints. It's a good glue. I like it. Very effective. Next kind of glue that I want to talk about is, I'm going to skip over that one. This is called Quick and Thick. Has a short open time, and it's thicker. Now I use this on boxes where I've got mitered corners, and I'm going to put them together, and I'm going to put that glue on, and I'm going to hold those in a vertical position as opposed to laying them horizontally. I don't do that a lot, but there are times when I do that. So you can put this on, spread the glue out so you're getting the contact on the full surface, and it doesn't drip down and pool on the bottom and make a mess all over everything. So quick and thick. It's a good glue for the right application. Next glue that I use, that is, I think it's their Titebond's newest glue. This is called Speed Set. This has a really short open time, and it actually will bond and hold two pieces of wood together just by your hand pressure. Now that allows you time to hold it in the exact spot that you want it, those two pieces in the exact orientation that you want them, and then you hold it for 30, 45 seconds, and it's tight. It's really tight. That gives you time to go and grab a couple of clamps and make sure that you get a good squeeze out. Now you want squeeze out on your joint. You don't want a lot of squeeze out on your joint. So that old put a bunch of glue on, squeeze the heck out of it, and let it run all over the place and make a mess. You don't need that. You just need a little squeeze out. You don't want to squeeze it so tight that you squeeze all the glue out, but you want a little bit of squeeze out. That means that you got the right amount of glue on your project. 50% less clamp time. It is an interior use only glue. This glue I use when I'm putting the bottoms on the boxes, and everything has to be aligned on all four sides. I'll put it on, I'll squeeze it with my hands long enough for it to set up, and then I'll get the clamps and make sure that that I get a good squeeze on the rest of it, because wood is alive, and I don't care what you do, you're rarely going to get a really absolute flat surface when you're putting two pieces together. So you have to squeeze that and make sure that that you get a good surface. The next glue is one that has been around for a long time. The old furniture, chairs, tables, those kinds of things, end tables, you name it, furniture in the house, was put together with a project called Hide Glue, H-I-D-E. If you take furniture apart, old furniture, I'm not talking about the new stuff. If you take old furniture apart and you see that brown, hard, almost like a resin, that's hide glue. Hide glue. Now, the advantage to hide glue is twofold. One is if you're doing a restoration as opposed to just fixing. You're doing a restoration, and so you take it apart because you got a loose joint, and you can heat it and separate that. Now it doesn't get runny, but it will soften some, and then allow you to hammer those pieces apart, and then you got to clean out that old hide glue. So it allows you to take those joints apart, and then in true restoration fashion, you wouldn't want to put a different kind of glue in there. You're going to want to use hide glue to make it back to its original. Has a longer assembly time, long open time, and as I said, the best part is you can take it apart just by applying some heat. So, and it's long heat, warm, not hot, because you don't want to burn the wood, char the wood with high heat. The one glue that I have used the least, and only comes in a jug that's this size, 32 ounces, full quart, is cold press glue. Cold press glue is used when you're working with veneers. You don't want the glue to be squeezing out through the veneer and ruining that surface. You can't do a lot of sanding on veneers nowadays. For a long time, back in the day before Al Gore invented thin veneer, veneer was maybe a 1/16 of an inch thick. Now it's really, really thin. It's almost construction paper thin. So you don't want that squeezing through. Now, people who work with a lot of veneers make a form, put the wood in the form, they'll put the glue on that one surface, set the veneer on, put it in a polyethylene bag, seal up the bag, use a vacuum pump, and suck all the air out, and it's pressing that bag onto the veneer and thus onto the wood as well. So you need a long open time, and you don't want it squeezing through. So cold press glue. The last glue that I want to talk about, and I'm sure there are other different kinds of glue, but these are the ones that I use, is CA glue. And I'm trying to think of what CA is. Cyanoacrylate or acrylate. CA. Everybody knows it as CA glue. Actually, everybody knows it as super glue. And super glue, I'm sure, is still a brand. There are a variety of different brands. Again, I use a Titebond, but CA glue is pretty much CA glue. You get thin, you get a thick, and you get a gel. And I use a thin just because this will actually penetrate the pores of the wood instead of just sitting on the top. So CA glue, I don't use a lot of CA glue, but there are times when I want an instant bond, and I'll put it on a joint in combination with one of the other glues. So I'll leave spaces in some of the other glues. Again, I don't use it a lot, but it is available, and I do use it. Now with wood, unlike the guy who, when he was looking for a glue that would bond instantly and be really strong, I'm sure he was trying different glues and putting it between his fingers and squeezing it. And if one day he ran across something that absolutely stuck his fingers together, couldn't get them apart, he said, "And this is super glue." Oh, okay, that probably didn't happen that way, but it sounds good. Makes a good story. So you want it to go even faster on more porous surfaces, then they make an accelerant that you can spray on. So you put the glue on, give it a shot, put the pieces together, you give it a shot with this accelerant, and it's an instant, almost instant bond. It reduces that set time, if you will, by 50%. So good for really porous surfaces when you're using your CA glue. So that's the glue situation. That's what I use. Again, I did fix the comments, ask questions, tell me what you want to see. There's something in the shop, some particular tool that you're not sure why the heck I bought it. If you're not sure, I'm probably not sure either. So ask questions, offer suggestions. Uh, Let me know what you think. I am thinking about additional videos. This is kind of fun for me. So I'm thinking about other videos I might want to do. Maybe what, Dave, what are the 5 worst, dumbest tools you ever bought? What'd you spend your good money on? And what are the 5 things that we should never buy? I could definitely come up with 5. I can come up with 5 without hardly thinking about it. So I'm thinking about that for a video. I'm thinking about what are tools that a homeowner should have to do some projects around the house. What are the best 2 or 3 or 5, whatever the number is? Thinking about that. What's the tool that I rely on the most? Should I spend money on an expensive tool if I can get the same thing at Harbor Freight? And will that suffice? Because I've done the same thing. I buy some things at Harbor Freight that that are good quality tools. So, but if there's something else you want to see, let me know. I'll do my best to put something together for you. I'm up to a total a whopping 10 subscribers right now. 10. I honestly never thought I'd get to 10. So thanks for those people who have actually subscribed. So it does. I can't say like the other guys, oh, it helps my channel. I have uh, no dream of having enough subscribers to have to say, oh, it helps my channel. The only thing I do appreciate is when somebody asks a question and gives me a chance to respond. So that's all I have for today. Again, ask questions. Let me know what you think. We'll see what we can do for you. Stay warm. Have a good day. And don't eat the glue. Stay away from the paste. You guys take care. We'll see you on the next one.